Hey, how's it going, guys? Braden with R1 Industries. Today we're going to be installing a Wildcat whips. Okay, so here are some of the tools that you're going to need to do a Wildcat whip install. We've got a harness. This is completely optional. It can be found on our website. This just allows you to run with a rocker switch. We have wire strippers, push pin pliers, a small screwdriver, a 13mm wrench. The impact is completely optional, and then P40 torque socket. We have some zip ties, and also you'll need a couple of butt connectors. We're going to come to both sides of the vehicle, and you want to pull out all the seats. Super easy on the razors, as many of you know, they're just a pull-up tab on the back. So now we're gonna take out the center console. Okay, so we have a T40 here, a push pin here, two more T40s, another push pin, another push pin. We have a T40 here and two more push pins in the back. And here's this clip that needs to be pulled so you can get your center console all the way out. Okay, so on the rear part of your console here, you obviously have a 12-volt power. It's just two wires right on the back, and they're just clips in. Just pull those off. We got our Tusk light bar harness all laid out. Your lead for your rocker switch needs to come through the tunnel, out the front, and there's a grommet on the firewall that it comes back through. So we've got our rocker switch. It comes with simple instructions, just like that, and we'll slide this back into place. This is what's included with the whips. We've got our remote harness with our two leads and a remote. You're gonna come right here towards the back of the center of the tunnel, and you're gonna run them out to each side. So now that we got our harnesses both roughly laid out, we're gonna start cutting some wires down to length and getting them connected. So out of our control module for our whips, you've just got a simple power and ground. There's two wires that come out of our harness, our light bar harness, that feed power and ground to the whips. So after you've made your connections, you just want to kind of get stuff so it's starting to lay out nice. You could start zip tying some things up. So we plan on installing the whips right up in this area on the cage, but first we got to get these vents pulled off. So now I'm getting ready to run the whip leads up to where we're gonna be mounting the whips at. First, we're gonna expand this hole here so we can run the wire out. So next, you need to determine where you wanna mount your whip. It's really personal preference. So we're gonna take our adjustable roll bar mount. Now that you've determined where you wanna mount your whips and got your roll bar mount roughly mounted, you wanna start getting your heights. Make sure to always check with your state's regulations on how high you have to be off the ground. One thing to keep in mind is down here, there is a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of parts that create a lot of heat because this is a turboed machine. You just want to make sure to keep everything away from that kind of stuff. Anything that makes heat, anything that rotates. So now that you've got everything hooked up, everything zip tied up real nice, you're gonna want to make your connections to your battery. Black goes with negative, obviously, and red goes with power. And then we will flip these on and we'll test them out. Now that we have tested the whips and made sure that everything works, we're gonna reassemble the center console and get this thing back on its way. So when you're putting your center console back together, you always wanna make sure that you start at the back because your front does sit over this lip of the back. So now that you've got your center column and everything back in, you can get your seats all put back in and your harnesses done up if that applies to you, and be on your merry way.